This was years ago and it's literally nothing, but I think about it sometimes. A few years ago, there was a point in a campaign where a paladin decided to go full tank in a fight with a massive horde of zombies, sacrificing his Nova damage with a maul for just a sword and shield for as much AC as he could. Additionally, I gave him a magic item that gave him the ability to cast the shield spell a number of times, and one of the components for it is somatic, requiring hand gestures, and you cannot do so with a sword and shield in your hand. Furthermore, you can't store a weapon as part of your reaction for shield. Am I the asshole for being a rules lawyer DM in this case and having him free action drop his sword to cast the spell which led an enemy to steal then sword? Okay, so this is a rule that I've always found incredibly clunky in execution. Somatic components for spells can be a bit messy and unfun. If a spell has a somatic component and a material component, then you can use the same hand for both of these. A cleric's holy symbol may be emblazoned on their shield. If the holy symbol is used for the spellcasting focus, then the shield would need to be in hand if there was a material component, and then this can also be used for the somatic component. However, a spell that is purely somatic without the material component needs a free hand to do so. There's the Warcaster feat, which as far as I'm aware removes this requirement. When casting a spell from a magic item, however, I believe that this also requires no components. To quote the Dungeon Master Guide, the spell is cast at the lowest possible spell level, doesn't expend any of the user's spell slots, and requires no components, unless the item's description says otherwise. That means that using the magic item does not require somatic components. However, it depends on how the magic item is used. Using a magic item requires either wielding or wearing it. That would mean if the item is something worn, all good, no need to drop the sword and shield. If the magic item is something that requires wielding, like a mace or a spoon, then free hand required to hold the magic item. Drawing or stowing a weapon requires a free action. This means switching the sword from the magic item takes a free action and an action. Then there is the action for casting. I'm guessing this is why the weapon was dropped instead of stowed. I find weapon switching actions to be kinda annoying and more prone to homebrew to make things more fun. Therefore, I think that whether this is rules as written depends on the magic item. The issue is whether or not the magic item required a free hand to cast. I think that the real jerk move here, though, comes from the zombie picking up the sword, assuming it's a zombie that is the enemy who picked up the sword. I can't see why a zombie would pick up a sword. It's not really their vibe. Even if it wasn't the zombie. In combat, I like to think of what an enemy would do realistically, than rather what is the mechanically best move. If your enemy dropped their sword to pull out a magic item, would you really go, oh sick, I'll just lean over and pick up that sword? I think it's a little bit too metagamey for me. Therefore, on 2 counts, 1, incorrect application of rules, and 2, being a rules lawyer, we can't really evidence any guilt due to the lack of information. However, on the 3rd count, which is being a bit of a buzzkill, I think we can fine against the DM. Although they are clearly not an a-hole, as they have a genuine belief that they are being fair, and have clearly sought counsel afterwards for validity. That's my decision. What's yours? Let me know, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more, maybe learn to juggle. That way you can keep free items at hand all at the same time. Okay, until next time, see ya!